Hi, my name is Tobey Pierce. I'm one of the elders at the Northeast Church of Christ in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I want to share with you a couple of thoughts about uh, the account of the Good Samaritan that Jesus talks about. This is found in Luke chapter 10, if you want to turn there with me. The account of the Good Samaritan is to be taken just as it says. It's telling us how to be a neighbor to those that we encounter. Much like what Jesus said in Matthew 7 and verse 12, therefore all things whatsoever you would that men should do to you, do you even so unto them. What we call the golden rule. The account of the Good Samaritan uses an example of someone with an unmistakable physical need. And certainly Jesus took care of people's physical needs. He fed the hungry. He healed people from all sorts of things. In doing so, he helped people, but he also showed the Father's love in an unmistakable way. He let his light shine in a way that people couldn't help but see it and give glory to the Father. Don't lose sight of Jesus' purpose in telling the account of the Good Samaritan. But along with that, if you would think with me for a moment about how the Good Samaritan, how that account could also be an allegory for the spiritual encounters that we have with people. Luke 10, beginning in verse 30. But Jesus replied, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell among robbers, who stripped him and beat him and departed, leaving him half dead. Now, they left him half dead. They robbed him. Our society beats people down. Anything to do with God or spirituality, they beat people down. They rob them of what few thoughts they might have about the Lord. And they leave them half dead. Maybe all dead, spiritually. Paul told the Ephesian church, you were dead in your trespasses and sins. Ephesians 2 and verse 1. There's two kinds of deaths. There's a physical death, and there's a spiritual death. And in our lives, we can either choose to lay down our lives, to die to ourselves, and to live for God. And in doing so, we have the bonus of living eternally with God. Or we can choose to live to ourselves. And in the process, we die to God. And we look forward only to an eternity without God in a place of torment. Continuing on, verse 31. Now by chance a priest was going down that road, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. So likewise a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he journeyed, came to where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion. He went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. He set him on his own animal and brought him to an inn and took care of him. And the next day, it strikes me that this was more than just a one-day thing, more than just a few minutes. The next day, he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper, saying, take care of him, and whatever you spend, I will repay you when I come back. Which of these do you think proved to be a neighbor to the man who fell among the robbers. And he, the lawyer who was questioning Jesus, and he said, the one who showed him mercy. And Jesus said to him, you go and do likewise. We all have friends and neighbors and loved ones and acquaintances that are half dead. They've not put on Jesus as their Lord. And they're really just waiting for that second death to kick in. That spiritual death. The man that Jesus was talking to, and those who would have been around and heard Jesus saying these words, certainly would have expected the priest and the Levite to have shown compassion, to have stopped and to help the man. But neither of them did. For us, we might be expecting a missionary or a minister or an elder or a deacon or a teacher, somebody else, to stop and to help those that we care about with their spiritual needs or their physical needs. But sometimes you're the one who's there, or sometimes I am. We are each sprinkled around this city, and we each come in contact with different people. We could prove to be a neighbor to those around us by sharing the good news about Jesus. We can bring them to the Lord, and He'll bind up their wounds. He'll bind up their wounded heart. We can bring them to services where they can meet others who are maybe more confident in sharing the good news with them. We can do all that we can, and we should do, and I implore you to do all that you can to help those that you care about. Reach out to them. They're in need. They need the Lord. You can help them with that. Have a blessed day.